This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, we call the meeting to order at 5:30. It is August 30th. We're at Town Hall for the Police Committee meeting. We'll do a roll call. We have Jason
Here.
and Adam
I'm
here remotely. And Julie's here in Village Hall, and we're here with Sergeant Half and Chief White. So I don't see anybody signed up for public comment, and there's nobody here. Is there any disclosure of conflict of interest from anybody today? All right, hearing none, we have the minutes from July 31st in the packets. Any edits or questions on the minutes? If not, I'll take a motion for approval from Jason,
I will make that motion.
and I will second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved.
Yes.
Discussion items, administrative towing procedures. Who's taking that one?
I got it. So we received information from our current toll provider that they can't guarantee that they can come out to all the calls that we have. They're having an issue with, keeping drivers. And they notified a lot of different agencies in Winnebago County as far as law enforcement about this. And we've decided to go another route. We've made contact with a towing provider. Our current provider does the towing and storage, collection of admin fees,
Who's that?
and A to Z.
Who is it?
A to Z.
A2Z.
A2Z, yes.
Okay.
So they provide that. We got information from the owner that says, he can't guarantee that if we call for a impound, that they would have a driver available. So we have been looking at other places, got recommendations from other places, so we've looked at another towing company that will do the tows, but will not do the storage or the collection of fees. So this new company, and I've already been back and forth with Attorney Gaziano about agreements, because we only had a verbal agreement with A to Z to do those. We're doing the written agreements now, so we have these in place. So Haas Towing, we've been in contact with HAAS. And they've agreed so far that they would take on our impounds, gave us a fee schedule, what it costs for them to tow them from here to Greater Rockford Auto Auction. Greater Rockford Auto Auction would store the vehicles, collect any of the fees, including the tow charges. And they have their own fees as far as storage, release fees, personal property release fees, and then they charge a 3% surcharge for paying of these fees with a credit card. So I've talked to back and forth with Chad Anderson, who's the general manager at Greater Rockford Auto Auction. He's agreed to do all this stuff, and I have one more issue of the agreements to send back to Attorney Gaziano to make sure everything's the way it should be, and then I'll be presenting those to Haas and Haas and the Greater Rockford Auto Auction. The only thing we run into is Haas tows the vehicle, Haas bills the village for the tow fee. So Greater Rockford Auto Auction would understand that there's the $135 tow fee. And if that's collected and the car is released, that fee comes back to the village. The only issue we run into is if the vehicle is left abandoned there. Vehicles that are 7 years or older, there's a 10-day window where they can pick those vehicles up or if considered abandoned. Vehicles that are 6 years and newer are given 30 days. So they have 30 days to claim the vehicle, otherwise they can be considered abandoned. What happens in those cases are, if those vehicles are abandoned for those periods of time, they can be sold at auction. So in those cases, we would not get the $135 tow fee until the vehicle is auctioned. And then whatever the auction price is There's still a snafu with this, I'm still trying to figure it out. The 135 would come back to the village for the tow fees, but anything above and beyond that would go to the auto auction for their storage fees and whatever else they would have associated with the vehicle. Now, there's a form that goes along with that, it's a certificate of purchase, and some of the language in that I have a question about, I'm trying to get an answer for that. It almost reads like all those funds need to come to the municipal entity. I'm not sure about that, I'm trying to reach out to some people at other
They
municipalities.
come to us, then to give them back to them, so.
Kinda-
to show that-
Kind of the way it reads, that way it reads to me, or you can almost say that it's one or the other. So I'm not sure, I'm trying to get some clarification on the language that's in it. But so say if they say, an example, they had a car that's been there for 30 days. $45 a day times 30 days, you know, what is that, no, it's over $1,000. So if the vehicle sells for 600 or 800, we get our 135, whatever's left over goes to the auto auction for their storage fees.
And then they're short fees.
They're short their fees, but they will take on that. They would take that on. They would say, okay, whatever we get out of it, we get beyond the 135. So we would get our money back either way. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Like I said, I have agreements drawn up for both.
What do they do if the car is picked up? There's no storage fee?
Nope,
Did I miss
they
it?
have a storage fee for every day, even partial days from the day it's impounded, that they get it. So if it gets impounded tonight at 6 PM, it's a partial day till midnight. So it's $45 for that day, and then the $45 for the next day. I don't
So
know.
whoever wants it pays them to get their car back?
Yes,
And the towing fee.
right. They would go to Greater Rockford Auto Auction, they would pay, if we had an administrative fee, and that's basically what this is for our administrative impound fee. They would pay the $500 impound fee, they would pay the towing charge, any storage days, even partial days, and then the auto auction has a $100 release fee to release the vehicle,
Who has that?
the auto auction.
How does that compare to what we had?
I think the tow fee was 85.
In the village?
The release fee was, I think they only had an after hours release fee. That's what we don't, because we had nothing in writing, we're not sure, but I do know it was 85 and it was like $27 a day in storage.
But the village only got the tow fee, same
Right.
thing.
Right. Yeah, we would get whatever the tow, well, we wouldn't get the tow fee back because A to Z was the company that's towing and storing. So there was no gap. So whatever A to Z charged for the towing and the storage went right to A to Z because that's where they would have to go to do that. In this case, because we're using a separate company for the towing, and the auto auction,
So
the auto auction would collect the 135, but I believe it would be billed to us first.
but we get that back either way.
Either way, yeah.
It's
either
just a
way.
timeline.
Right, just a timeline.
Like-
It could be, it's up to 30 days to 45 days, 2 months probably at the most.
It's a better deal than for the village, for the
Yes.
people getting their car out.
Right, it's not so good. Well, I'm not too concerned about that because
Exactly.
those costs are going up. We charge $500 for the administrative tow fee. Other entities charge $350. It can be anywhere in the range of 0 to 500. 500 would be
So how do
fine.
you get the 500, Jeff? I'm confused on that. Is that after auction or if
No,
somebody
the
pays to get their car?
The 500 is based on if somebody were to come and pay for it. Now, I have to talk to Chad about if that vehicle is auctioned, do we get our 500 plus the 135?
Right.
So I need to have that
Yeah.
conversation with them.
Yeah.
Because we
Otherwise,
get that now, the 500.
when the car,
If they pick the vehicle up, yes, they have to pay the 500 before it gets released.
but if it's abandoned, we don't get it today.
No,
And we don't get the 85. So we were getting 500 and we're not sure right now if we still get the 500.
Right.
We do get the 135.
right. We won't get, we'll get that bill paid, and that's something I need to check on. 'Cause I actually never thought about that 500 for the impound fee. So, and then what we've had happen in the past is people request a hearing, we set the hearing, and they never show up. So the administrative hearing officer, which is an attorney through Roxanne Sosnowski's office, comes, has the hearing. 99.9% of the time rules in favor of the village that the administrative toll ordinance was applied as required, and then charges $250 to the person for the cost of the hearing. Well, the problem we're having right now is how to collect that $250. You send letters to people and they just ignore it.
That's your job to collect the $250 for the hearing too?
Well, if we send the notices, yes, because what we do is we have the hearing states that it was held, they didn't show up. They were charged the 500 plus the 250 for the hearing, and you send it out, say, here's, the outcome of the hearing, so now you owe us another 250. Well,
They didn't show up, so they're not gonna pay. Are you getting a 250 if they show up though, easier? Do they pay it right then?
they usually don't charge. We've not had anybody show up for them, that's the thing.
Oh.
So they request a hearing and don't show up, so
Yeah.
they get checked. So we end up paying the 250 out of the 500.
Yeah,
Oh, we're on
So
the
now
hook
we're
for
getting
that.
250.
because you gotta pay for that.
I've inquired about how to enforce that as a debt owing the village, and,
It's probably not worth it because it's just such little money.
well, you're gonna pay an attorney to take it to court.
Right, exactly. So I'm saying it's not
So-
enough to.
Right. So,
So what happens when it goes to auction and it's beyond the fees? Who gets the leftover money?
the auction does.
Okay, so we don't get anything for.
No. That, for their, because I mean, we're not storing it anywhere here. We're not upkeep, we don't have to secure it anywhere, they're taking care of all of that. And there are parameters for the storage facility as far as 24-hour cameras, security at the location,
I think
interior.
Rockford Auto Auction would pass all those stuff.
They do, they have all that
like
stuff,
vehicles out
so,
there all the time.
so it's just, they have a lot of costs involved, plus they're paying somebody there to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take in these vehicles. So there's costs involved for them.
Does the 500 cover, say, that 250 and other administrative costs, or should that be higher? To
You
cover
can't make,
for the
500 can't go higher.
Oh, that's
the
the
limit
max.
for the state
Okay.
law. The state
Okay.
law, that's the highest it can be. Because we found out over time, we thought originally when we did it, 500 was too high. But then we started looking into all the time we put into it as far as sending out letters.
Or if this happens.
Yeah, or if you had a hearing,
Yeah.
so, if you
So
had.
it'd be good to make sure that you're still gonna get that.
Yeah, so at
That'd be
auction,
nice.
you get 500 plus the towing fee, so 635. The first
Right.
635 come to us and the rest to
Yep.
them.
Yep, the rest would go to the auction.
Well, you would think, because they're probably making out on them cars getting auctioned.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they make, I mean, because some of them are basically junk. And they sell them for scrap for what, 250, 300,
Mm-hmm.
and we get 135, and they get whatever left over, so. So that's in the process, once we have all that taken care of, I'll let you know. And then I have to take those agreements that were typed up, to those entities and see if they will agree to the parameters that are in those. That is an actual written agreement. And then we'll have something on paper that says, this is what the expectation are. If you want to read over copies of them, once I get them approved by Mary, I can send them to you. They're very legal heavy, obviously.
They're not 60 pages, are they?
6 or 7 maybe.
Yeah.
So that's that. it's kind of put us in a bind. I mean, we didn't really have one yet that we didn't get picked up. But I don't want to take the chance that we have an impound that we can't get picked up.
Right,
And we don't have an agreement with somebody to come and pick it up.
I agree.
So that's that.
You don't want Nick out there with the Bronco and toaster rack.
That's right.
All right,
And the towing company agreed that they would respond within 35 minutes, so.
so they have drivers.
Yes.
All right, seems reasonable. If Mary's involved with the legal drafting, I'm sure you're in good hands.
Yes.
All right, I know I had asked to put officer retention on here. Are you done with that? First of all?
Yeah.
And that was just in light of maybe some speculation that some people might be looking and so forth. So I guess I just want to ask the two of you if there's something more, something, you know, what the packages are out there, what we offer our officers. And I mean, we've done a big job boosting everybody's pay. I don't know that we're going to be able to do a round two. So what else is there? Is there anything else that makes sense?
You know, I haven't really thought of anything that's really gonna make a difference. I think we've given people the flexibility in the schedules to say, hey, I need to come in a little bit late, or I need to take a day off, or whatever, and move people around to fill those spots. And I think it boils, like I said, right back down to the finances of it. I mean, how
It's
can
all
you,
about pay. They don't care if they're going to a different, totally different community with different problems. That doesn't even factor into the.
I can't. The answers I get when I ask if you intend to go somewhere else, oh, it can be for money. I'm going over there because I get paid more or whatever, benefits are better or whatever, but, some of those, as you know, and you've seen, we can't compete with. That's all there is to it. I don't think work schedules are a factor in it because most agencies in this area have the same schedule that we work, 12-hour shift. You know, I have heard some struggle about that. There are people who don't like the 12-hour shift. We'd rather work 5 8s. But that's not something we want to entertain because it works. I think the 12-hour shift schedule is so much better because so you may work 3 days in a row, that's 12 hours a day, but you also get 3 days in a row off the following weekend.
And everyone's guaranteed every other weekend off.
Yeah, so,
And that's hard to beat in this line of work.
so
Do
you're
you
only,
hear our people saying that they'd rather work?
I've heard that, yeah. I mean, because you figure you're working in a regular month, you work 14 days a month. Whereas if you work 5 days a week, obviously you're working 20. So having those extra 6 days off, I don't quite grasp, but I know when I came to the 5 days a week, it was tough. I mean, it's a change. I mean, it was so nice to have those days off where you could get a lot of stuff done at home, and now you had 4 days 1 week and 3 days the next to try and get all your stuff done at home, and I try and do it 2 days now. It's hard. So, but if some people like it that way, some people like it that way, I guess. They don't like to work the long day schedule or whatever.
Two things I can think of that might help attract or retain. And one thing that has been brought up is comp time, letting the officers take their overtime and instead of it being overtime, turn it into a time off bank that they can use for whatever
We talked
purpose.
about that once before.
And another thing would be increasing our start vacation time.
No,
I think that right now we're starting at 1 week. A lot of agencies are seeing that, the next generation coming in, what they want is they want time off. Maybe rather than start with 1 week, maybe we can look at starting with 2, or even taking the matrix that we have in the personnel policy and adjusting it. Maybe make it to where you reach your max time off allowed earlier than, I think it's set at 20 years right now.
Which is how many weeks?
4, I think, after 20 years. I'll have to double check.
What's
I
that?
thought it was more than that.
I
That,
think it is more than that.
that was originated before we had sick time too.
Right.
So that sick time bank has also been added prior to that. That was one of the things that was brought up before, was sick time. So we got that separated out. So now there's a sick time bank and a vacation bank. Your sick time is accrued monthly, I believe.
It's through every pay period.
Yeah, but it's, you make like, it's so much a month is what it
Right.
ends up being. But yeah, it's based on your pay period.
I have to pull those policies out again. We spent so much
Oh, I
time
know.
redoing those.
So, I mean, the advantage of the sick time bank was at retirement. I mean, because you can roll those over out. You don't get any pay for them, but you can use it as time through IMRF. So you can use, say if you have, I don't know, 200 hours of sick time, you can roll that over into days through IMRF, and you get that much more credit for your time as service time. So that's what a lot of people use it for, do with it, because it's also obviously a benefit if you have a serious injury or something, need to be off for a period of time. If you have some surgery or something, you have that sick time to fall back on. But yeah, it's difficult anymore because you have all these agencies that are still, and probably will be for some period of time, signing bonuses and higher pay for a lateral, and I don't think that's anything that we can financially do to the degree that some of these agencies are doing it. I mean, if somebody wanted to go to the extreme of going out of state, I've seen as high as $20,000 as a signing bonus.
Question.
70,000 somewhere else, I can't remember where.
That's probably California.
Question. You guys are talking about vacation and how much they earn for their first years. How long does it take for them to get to like 80 hour of paid leave? They get 40 hours the first year and then
In order to take 2 weeks off, they would have to have 84. But anyway,
what I'm asking is like, if you're a 5-year employee, how many hours of vacation time do you get?
it's based on hours per pay period, so I would have to calculate that out.
Yeah.
Only reason why I ask is that the one admin meeting we had back in June, I was handed a part-time employees that's coming through the state statute, I think for next year, is part-time employees. If they earn the next amount of hours for what it looks like for years worked, a 2-year employee would get 30 hours a year. A 3 to 7 year employee would get 60 hours. So that's why I'm asking that question, is if you have a 4-year employee, are they still getting their 42 hours of paid leave, or are they getting 2 weeks of paid leave? Because pretty soon after, what I'm seeing here, these part-time employees may be getting more paid time off than our full-time employees at the same rate.
Nick, personnel policy,
That's what I'm working on.
that should
I was
be in
gonna
there.
say, I've pulled that up so many times. I should send that to you guys. If you guys don't have a full employee policy handbook,
No, we do.
well, we do, but I don't think our
Oh,
trustees
gotcha.
do. I don't know if they were given that or
I
not.
probably have one somewhere. I probably got one somewhere. I just gotta look it up.
Adam, that time off, we already give our part-timers vacation time, but that's actually for sick time starting next year. The time off is we're supposed to be able to offer all employees, including part-time, sick time. We already offer our part-timers vacation time.
Yeah, it should be as a breakdown as to what.
It does, and no. I know it's something that every office.
You can't search it by vacation.
You know, maybe when we get this new position in here too, we can dig. I can't remember the job description, if they had much of an HR role, but, to have somebody outside the force give like exit interviews to people that maybe they don't want to tell you guys the truth, but maybe there's something else.
Well, that's kind of the thought process I had is when you said about doing exit interviews, I'm going, how honest are they gonna be with us to begin
Yeah,
with?
I mean,
I would love for somebody else outside us to do it.
I mean, it'd be great if the vacation time thing was the problem, but it's probably pay. And
Yeah,
because vacation I don't know, but that seems less of a burden for us to maybe, okay, here you go. It'd be easier than giving pay.
And
right? We just made all those
and
reasons.
of all the years I've worked here, I don't think anybody's ever been denied a vacation day.
Right, there you go.
You know, they request a day off. I mean, we try and do a 30-day notice. You know, give us 30-day notice before you want the day off. But there are circumstances
Well,
that come along.
that's pretty good.
If there are circumstances that come along and say, hey, I need to take this day off, I got this going on, and we make it work, we always have, you know. We adjust people's hours a little bit, and they're agreeable to it. We've had times where Nick or I have come in and work shifts, you know, to cover other people because they want time off. So that's always been the case. We've always say, you know, I would prefer not to deny somebody's vacation, but, sometimes it works out.
So is it part-time people that, I mean, I didn't know this till we came here tonight that we're having
It's full-time.
full-time people are having.
Yeah.
That new hires or not, right? And
I would say less than 5 years on, yes.
So currently vacation, the first 2 years, a police officer will get 42 hours a year, so it's 1 week. 3 to 7 years, they get 84 hours, 8 to 13, 126 hours, 14 to 19, 168 hours, which is 4 weeks. And 20-year employees they're getting 5 weeks a year. Which, right now, they get, that 5 weeks is 210 hours, we're capped at 250. So they carry anything over, like, Officer Smith or Officer Spellman, they carry that time over, they're getting to their max out level pretty quick.
yeah, I think 2 weeks is pretty standard for positions anywhere right out of the gate, to be honest. 1 week off, especially when you're an officer with those 12s. I mean, you may think they're easy, I know, but we're an
Well,
officer,
yeah.
you know?
But yeah, I think if we were to take the matrix that we have here of how many hours it is accrued per pay period,
84 for the year.
yeah, we could change that and maybe make it to where you get closer to that 5 weeks a little bit sooner than 20 years. Because that's something that would entice somebody to, like, oh, look, I actually get time off. And when we're full staff, time off is absolutely not a problem.
Yeah.
The way that we have the shifts scheduled and staggered.
if you have people to cover, is that hurting the village as far as costs?
I don't think so.
No, because
Unless,
sometimes,
I think for a while we were paying overtime to
Yes.
cover vacations because we're so short-staffed, that's when it hurt.
yeah, that would hurt.
Which I
We
can always
don't,
have.
I don't think we have much overtime in
Nope.
this year, do we?
No.
We've been pretty good.
No,
on
now that we had a full staff, if we had somebody say, well, the cover shift was from 3 PM to 3 AM. Well, we just leave that position open, we wouldn't fill it, because you have a day shift that works from 6 AM to 6 PM, and a night shift working 6 PM to 6 AM. So there was no problem there. If we had a day shift officer who wanted a day off, we just moved the afternoon shift officer to the day shift position. You don't have an extra person in the afternoon, but you still get the whole day covered. Same thing with the night shift. We would move the afternoon shift person to the night shift to cover. That's kind of the reason why that afternoon shift was implemented, is we could move them back and forth if we had to, if somebody wanted time off.
I mean, it definitely seems like they leave anyway. Maybe that entices somebody else, like you just said, to come be employed here afterwards.
Well, and even something like comp time, which, yes, there's not a lot of overtime, but if you could even take your court time and put it in a bank for time off, that's what we're seeing a lot of. It's the big trend right now is our younger officers, our newer officers, they want that work-life balance, which we all do, but, they want to know that if they needed to take time off, if something were to happen,
And I think
it's covered.
didn't we talk about that, having a cap on it?
Yes, we could do a cap of, just 1 month, like if we wanted to, we could do it 1 pay period or 1 month.
So,
time.
just so I understand, because we talked about this before, so I have an hour of overtime, and I say, no, I'm not, don't pay me that hour of overtime, but give me now an hour and a half off, because they get time and a half on overtime. So now I have earned an hour and a half of comp time versus 1 hour paid time and a half,
Correct.
right?
So you start banking that up and, for whatever reason, that would be
Legal
great.
to do?
That's,
Sure doesn't
Who
sound
keeps track of
HR
that?
legal to
You?
me.
Who keeps track of that?
that would be payroll, HR.
It was
Exactly.
very, I had that when I was at Public Works. We were allowed to build up 40 hours of comp time. And so in the winter time, I would build up from plowing snow, build up an extra 40 hours of comp time and use it for vacation in summer. So just like you said, I work an hour overtime, gives me an hour and a half of time off.
Does sound good.
So,
And there's law enforcement agencies in this county that do it. I think probably most of them do,
Right.
actually.
Pretty much, the only three I can think of that don't would be us.
and it's this generation coming out where they definitely want more time off. We're seeing that in the fireside. Is they're coming in, they want that time off. They want some of that freedom just to, yeah. So
Even though you guys work only 7 days a month, right?
I work 10. But if you do the hours, we're like at 2,800 hours a year. So average worker,
That
Or we're-
accrues so many.
How many hours a year, Adam?
2,800.
20,
Doesn't
How can that-
This matrix is our,
2,800?
so 8 hours.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Now, is that with overtime or is that straight?
Is that what?
Is that with overtime hours or is that straight hours?
That's straight hours. Actually comes out to be 2,920 for us. And if you take away my 6 furloughs, it only drops it to 2,800. Average 40-hour work employee works just
All together in my brain, but, yeah, just to see all of them. And you can carry over, or there's a cap on sick time carryover and PTO carryover, right? Or a combination of the two with a cap, or each has an
Each
individual cap?
has its own individual.
Anything else from what you're hearing or what others offer that we should at least be thinking about?
Not right offhand, I mean,
We have good equipment,
yeah, it's not like we have.
Updated fleet. We stay on top of things that are needed, we ask for input, and officers have no problem giving input, and saying this would work, this wouldn't work. I'd like to go to this training, I mean,
But I
we
mean, we were
accommodate.
just now getting staffed where we believe we needed to be. And now we have a couple people leave, that would be your point to ask, well, what did we not do, or could we improve to make it stay? So,
Well, and until that other person gets here, if you want me involved in that, I'd be happy to do an exit interview if somebody would talk to me, you know.
might be a little bit easier than talking about us. I mean, I have no problem with it, but how much you get out of it, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, well, keep thinking about that. If you guys can think of anything else, please bring it back here to us and, well, you're on the admin team, Adam, so I know you guys are working on a bunch of stuff right now. I know we just did this, I think it was 2 years ago, and it took us 2 years to get it done, I think, on the whole PTO and comp time, well, not comp time, sick time, so.
Well, I know that, I talked to our officers about these step plans, and they are all very excited about that. That's, one of the things I heard was, well, union. Said, okay, well, why do you want the union so much? It was for an established, scheduled pay, so that they know 3 years is what we'll make.
Or education wise, or however it works out, right? You can make more somehow.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to see it when it comes, but that would be an assumption here. Like, it's not just years.
Right.
Step pay goes with.
Yeah.
Education.
All right, spotting one in-car camera update.
So we have all the equipment, the body cameras and the in-car cameras. Motorola won't be out until October for the setup of the body cameras
In training.
and training on how to use them. The in-car cameras can be installed, but we ran into a snafu. We have the SRO car. If the upfitters now and a couple of the brackets that are supposed to be compatible to mount the cameras and other things into the car are not, the right ones. So we have to go back to Motorola.
They sent the wrong stuff, is what you're saying, or?
I don't know if they sent it, I don't ever remember being asked what vehicles this equipment was being put in, because I don't know if it's vehicle specific. So Sergeant Half sent out an email to our project manager through Motorola today
Did you get a response?
No, not yet.
to find out, if there are specific brackets for specific vehicles, because our outfitter says the brackets they sent will not work. Or they would have to be some modifications of what they were before, so we're waiting to see what happens with that. But everything is here, just gotta get it all set up and running.
I checked yesterday, there is no update on the grant. Just shows that it's still, just shows submitted, doesn't show denied. And I know of agencies that have already started getting their denial letters.
Oh.
So we haven't gotten a denial letter.
that?
Well, they've gotten their denial letters, but we haven't gotten any letter yet, so that's good.
What, do you have an
Oh.
idea of the basis of denial?
Nice spin.
And they don't really explain, they just say you've been denied.
Hey, he's spun that well. We'll go with it.
Yeah, the way I look at it, maybe they're getting all the denials out of the way.
Yeah.
So that they can start issuing checks,
Yes.
you know?
Boy, that'd be something.
Okay, moving on. The Village Hall camera.
As you can see, the cameras are up, they're all working. If you want to look at the camera point at, Nick and I both have,
Right here,
no, you got it right there.
there you go. We have cameras everywhere.
So yeah, there's covers everything around here, so. The two cameras, the one where you see the flag in, that one is actually adjustable, you can turn it, and move it.
I can't put this sign on, but yeah, you can.
You can turn it left and right, up and down, so if we need to change the view or something. Those two cameras will also, if you change the setting, it will track a person, it will track a vehicle. There's a light on those two cameras. There's a siren on those two cameras, and you can speak through those cameras if you want to. So as you can see, we're covering a lot. The one on the west side of the building, that one there where he's at with the cursor, we want to adjust a little bit. We want to get a bracket or a board or something to put behind it so we can actually get down the building all the way, because the generator's on that side.
Yeah.
Oh. See it.
So we can cover a lot of what's here. But we have access to it 24 hours a day. On my cell phone, I can bring it up and look at it. And a lot of it's not only security for us, but security for the girls up front. As you can see, there's one in the vestibule right here where people can't go past. And then there's one in the village office in the back corner facing towards the glass. So we can see what's going on up there. And then if anything happens, we'll have a recording of it.
Now, does everybody know these cameras are up and what they're looking at?
Yeah, because we put the same view back there in the office,
Okay.
up on the TV that we have back there, so that camera's
Oh,
up all the time.
they can see this?
Yes, they
Yeah,
see
this-
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
good, okay.
What's the one on the left?
That's the back door.
The back door.
Because it faces down.
Oh.
So if somebody knocks on the door, they can look at the,
Where is that? By the police door?
yeah, it's the back door.
It's
It's just facing straight down to the ground.
Oh, yeah, there's the squad car. I didn't even catch
Yeah.
that.
The reason that one's there, in case somebody's here in the office, somebody's pounding on the back door, they can look at this view and say, okay, who is it?
And we've had that happen before.
Yes, we have. And I've gone out there blind,
Yeah.
not knowing who's out there.
And this camera also,
Yes,
like you said, tilts.
tilts and pans, we can actually turn the microphone on, it has a light on it, yeah, everything. And talk to people through it, so.
That's the smoking room. Are you sure you want that there?
You can hear the crickets.
Yep. I do that,
Well-
talk to my dog when he's on the front porch.
What, you
He
ever
goes like
ring?
this,
You ever ring?
yeah. He's like, it's very cute.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah, 12
Yeah.
cameras, I don't have the exact number, but we're under $1,600.
Yeah.
Compared to what we were looking at before.
Didn't you say something about it can record or you have to make it
No,
record?
it's recording all the time.
Yes,
And you save so much of it though, I'm sure it goes over. and
Yes,
loops
it'll,
or something.
yeah, it loops. What happens is it runs out of storage and what is that, I mean, is it a terabyte?
it's 2 terabytes.
2 terabytes? So it'll record quite a time. We haven't figured out how many days it is it'll
It's
record.
still kind of,
So once it gets to that, it'll just start recording over what was there.
so if something were to happen here, then we.
I would say at least 7 days,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
7 days of recording. So if something happened, we were made aware of it, we could go back to that time frame
And
and,
pull the
and
footage.
see it.
Good deal.
So you can't hide anywhere in here anymore unless you're,
No.
unless you're in the bathroom.
I was gonna say, I didn't see any bathroom
No, there
views.
wasn't.
That would not be good. Well, crime statistics, I tell you what, I see a lot more sirens around here lately.
Yeah.
Somebody was going quietly through my subdivision last night when I was walking the dog. I think it was Mike. Was it Mike Mangio at night?
Mhm.
I think it was him. He had the lights going, but the sirens off, and I'm like, what's he doing?
Oh, he's on his way to a medical.
Oh, was he? They're doing okay.
Yep.
But he did wave at me.
That's good.
We're making progress.
We're moving forward.
Anything on the stats highlight or anything you care to share? Anything we need to
I
be
can tell you right
concerned
now,
about?
the amount of tickets that are writing is, have been written is going up.
Significantly.
How many did you say were in the last 2 months or 3 months?
A lot. I can't even, I process more tickets now than I think I have in the last 3 years.
Well, we were so short-staffed.
Yeah.
Are we here? I'm not on Facebook. Are we hearing anything on Facebook?
Not bad. I
Okay.
didn't see much.
Yeah, and I've actually talked to members of the community, they noticed the cars. They noticed the amount of traffic stops being made, and they're appreciative. There was an arrest not that long ago, within the last week, and the next day, the resident that lives along that street made a point to come all the way over here just to say that they really appreciated seeing the squad car and getting those people out of the village.
Good. All right, second half, what you got for us?
All I've got right now is I've got officers submitting training requests to knock out some of their mandated trainings that have been implemented by the Safety Act. Officer Spellman, Chief White Knight, actually every officer has submitted requests to go to training. So right now, while we still have the staff, we will make sure that everyone gets the trainings that they need to get to and make sure that all their mandates are met.
And they're actually submitting requests for voluntary training that I can take. So, and we feel if we can get them to those training classes, we will. That they're trying to improve their skills by saying, well, we want to go to these classes. And a large amount of the classes, probably 95 to 98% are through our mobile training unit. So there's no cost involved to us. They're local. We have to pay them for their time, obviously, if they go. And one of the squad cars, usually if they're going to a class that's outside of this direct area, I'll leave the unmarked car here and they use it to go, come back. So, no cost involved with the travel either, so.
You mentioned Spellman. Is that for the SRO or is he already over there?
He's already over
He's already
there.
there.
I thought so. I thought my wife said that.
He had his training that he had to do, right?
Yeah, but he also has additional, just because he's assigned to the SRO position, he still has to adhere to all the mandated training.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
police officer has to do.
So at one point, we were talking about our backup SRO, that, we haven't done anything there, have we?
No, we
Has more than one officer done that? Okay, so When is the next SRO training available, and do we have
Next-
anybody that makes any sense at
Next
this point?
summer.
Yeah,
Oh, it's not
they
till
usually
next
do
summer,
those,
okay.
they usually do those in the summertime because that's
Okay.
not in school.
Sure.
So,
And when they do their scenario based, they go to a local school so that it's a school setting, kind of get them in the mindset, so they've got to wait for the school to be out of session.
Is
So-
that something that, on a step pay type thing, and I know that this is all administrative, probably Adam, but if you're an SRO, or, you know, is that something where it's desirable as a backup to go get that, maybe you get more pay?
We talked about stipends for specialized training, both like SRO or field training officer,
And, yeah, anyway,
and that's something that we could probably explore.
yeah, that aspect of it's still in the works. I mean, because
that might be something
I think
where you're benefiting from giving them more pay.
and some of the conversation, it even spilled over into like public works to where, okay, say if you're in public works and
Exactly.
obviously it's to go get a water license, Class C water license.
Yes.
And get a bump in your pay because you have that, so if you had to fill up for somebody, you could.
Yes,
So that's kind of the same aspect as an SRO or an FTO or any of those types of things. We kind of look at it as if you're actually doing it like an FTO period, you only get paid that stipend for the time you're actually doing that work, not
Not all the time.
all the time.
So like when you're training somebody and you've got somebody in the car with you, then that's when you would get the
well,
stipend.
still,
Or if you're
Benefit,
shadowing somebody that's still in the field training aspect of it, you're still getting paid for that extra amount for that activity. So yeah, we have looked at all those sorts of things to try and give an incentive for working their way up or having more responsibility. So,
Make sure when you're doing budget, Jeff, we have that SRO, I'm assuming there's a cost to that training for the SRO, right?
No.
There's no training, there's no cost to that?
No, that's through our mobile training unit.
Never mind.
That was a week-long training.
yeah, it's 40 hours, yeah.
Basically, any training that any of our officers go to that's sponsored by our mobile training unit, one officer can get as much training as they want for $85 a year. So, officers, huh?
Well, I mean, that's also beneficial to the village if that works to get people to.
That's why we try and do everything that we do. And the mobile training unit executive director says if you have a training class you want to go to, get whoever the trainer or instructor is with him, and they can put the paperwork together and submit those programs to the state and get them certified. That way, we're not paying a large amount of cost because the mobile training unit would actually spend those costs to get those people to come, and then our membership fee pays the cost for the people to attend.
Anything else, Sergeant? No?
Nope, I am good.
All right, Chief?
Don't really have a whole lot. I've been working on this towing and impound thing for quite some time now, trying to get it all put together, and there's been other things obviously that come and go, and subpoenas from the Workman's Comp Commission, and cases are trying to get worked through, and just, my days are full every day, so I don't really have any extra projects I've been working on outside of those, so, hopefully that, we can get past some of this stuff, get this impound thing straightened out, and then I'll have time to start working on some other
Can
things.
you have time to copy a UTV ordinance for me?
If you got one?
Copy one, you mean print it?
No, from Byron.
Oh.
Oh,
Facetious.
Oh, UTV, all right. Did you say
UTV,
UTV? Okay, I was looking at those emails before here and I got them confused.
Oh, I know.
You need a copy of it, or what?
No,
I think we've gotten it from Byron before, haven't we?
I was
Well, we
going
have,
to-
everything's
It's already
in
there.
there.
I was going to bring up, yeah, do we have any deadline at all for getting that going? Is there anything we can do?
Oh, cause I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, it's, My understanding it's in the legal hands
Right.
currently.
Yes,
so.
it is, I know.
But like, you have to understand too, is that's something that's still in the works, and the things that I send to, I mean, the day-to-day things that Mary Gaziano gets from us, these agreements with the towing companies and the Greater Rockford auction, the FOIAs that we have to review.
Those are, must,
Those
those
are must,
are immediate.
because those are immediate things that need to be taken care of. So her plate is pretty full, I mean,
Plus she has a lot of practice, so she's
Yeah.
not her only client.
right, so something like this, I hate to say, is kind of put on the back burner. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it, you want to get moving on it, but,
The
I'm sure
burner's
there's
out
other
of
things.
reach right now. I said the burner's out of reach.
I know I asked for, like an ETA from her, but I know, like all of us, our case, we have this plan and it doesn't work out that way, this stuff comes on our desk,
Yeah,
whatever,
it's,
so
things seem to drop out of the sky every day.
Yeah.
So it's,
I will check back with her again and just find out where we are on the
and
list.
you have to also remember that you've got, she's attending all the meetings, or, a good portion of them, board meetings, stuff that, ordinances and resolutions that the board wants her doing, so it's, there's a lot there. I'm sure it's there on her radar.
I'm understanding, I'd just like to know a time. I think by now we did have.
If we have to seek other legal counsel to do some of this stuff, so since Mary's so busy, it might be something we should look at in the future, to have a secondary law firm to handle some of this stuff. If she's so overwhelmed.
It's an interesting point.
or help. And then also that falls into succession planning. Mary's not gonna be an attorney forever. So,
You know what, we use Roxanne Sosnowski, is that how you say her last name, to do the manual, and I don't know if that's because Mary didn't have expertise
It was-
there or whatever.
Yeah, well, I think it's because Roxanne had done multiple of those in the past.
For municipalities, it was kind of a copy and paste, but edit for
Yeah.
what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else at the village, that would be for the village board to figure out if they want to retain another legal advisor, attorney to do certain aspects of things.
All the smaller things.
Sounds like something for the admin team to talk about.
There you go.
add it to the list, or the village administrator next year.
There you go.
All right, anything under new business?
I think we just hit it.
Yeah,
We just had it.
I think that was new business right there.
All right, I don't know that we have anything for the board
Just
meeting at this
the-
point, do we?
Just the committee meeting, or the minutes,
Okay, which isn't really agenda
Which,
item, it's
yeah.
just in the,
so nothing, oh, no, nothing.
all right, no need for executive session, so I'll call for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, I will end this at
Oh, yeah.
6:24.